Good evening, everyone. My name is Oscar. This is the speech number 2 for Unit 3 for CEA 105, which is Introduction to Human Communications. And today I have my crew over here. This is the people that I gathered to do my speech. They were kind enough to participate in this. And today I would like to talk about satellite communications and why it is important to have them. I am a tech sergeant in the United States Air Force. I have been in the United States Air Force for 12 years, which my job specifically is working with satellite terminals and satellite communications and different uses that we have for satellites. And through my experience, I have worked with terminals that provide data, voice, video, and I have working with terminals, including flight sections, which is actually pointing the satellite the way that I desire to actually have a very better communication point. However, I would like to keep it the simplest that I can. And the very first question that popped my brain when I started working with this satellites is where the satellites are. Well, the satellites are 22 I gotta check. 22,000 miles orbiting Earth. And most of these satellites that we use for communications are in a geostationary position. And geostationary means that the satellite is going to be always facing the Earth. You rotate, and they always going to be facing Earth. The satellite is pointing from the equator to Earth, and that is called a footprint. And the footprint is the area coverage that any satellite has. Also, with this capacity, with this ability that the satellite has, that means that you're going to have coverage anywhere that you actually are. You don't depend on cell towers to actually have communications. That's the reason why boats, railroad, other companies like oil company depends on satellite communications to actually provide to the users communications wherever they are. And the military, of course, take advantage of this. We don't have to be part of a network to do our job or to do communications. We can be in the middle of the desert and actually provide a commander with quality video and quality data and quality voice. One of the things that actually, now that I've talked to you about where the satellites are, I would like to, the services. I just glanced a little bit around the services before, but the services that we actually have nowadays is MSS, which is Mobile Satellite Systems. If you ever been hunting or you ever been using a GPS, that signal, that map that you have in your cell phone or in your GPS system is provided by a satellite as part of the MSS. And as nowadays you can have it in your cell phone, you can have it in a laptop, you can have it whatever you are, if you are subscribed to a satellite communication network, which is how they make money. Money. Curious subject too as well. Have you ever wondered how much a satellite costs? No?
Yes.
Yes? How much do you think it costs?
2 million.
2 million is a little bit more than that. 2 million would be, you can actually build your own satellite with 25, okay, with $25,000. However, the satellites, depending on the mission and the capabilities of the satellites, it goes from $10 billion to $400 billion. And, or however, the revenues for these satellites are between the 28 and $32 billion a year. Why so expensive? Putting a satellite in orbit is not that simple. You have to coordinate with different agencies because your satellite is not going to be the only satellite on orbit. So you have to have on a specific place in the sky to fly your bus. That's how we call it, bus, to have to fly your satellite. On top of that, that satellite has a frequency. You have to pay for that frequency. You have to get that frequency permissions to use. Permission of use, that's what we call it. Once you got everything that aligned, then you have to have a spacecraft to put that satellite over there. And just so, those are just the logistics. To put a satellite together, it has to be in a complete clean environment. There's a bunch of scientists putting together this gigantic terminal in space to actually do communications. 10 million to $400 billion. Why so expensive? Imagine that you can actually sit down in the middle of the desert, like I mentioned before, and being able to pick the phone and talk to whatever or whoever around the globe, and have a video, have a Zoom meeting with somebody soon. The military uses something completely different, and have a quality call, video call, data, send an email, send a video, send files. Anything is possible. Why I'm so prone to use satellites? They're reliable, expensive, however reliable, and you will always will have signal. If you are outside, of course, if you're in the basement, it's not likely. However, there are ways you can have your terminal with your antenna pointing outside the house, and you can run internet into the whole house. That's one of the services that actually the satellite provides. And with the satellites, actually, we can simmer down or minimize the uses of towers. We don't have to put a tower every mile away, because this is how the phones work. The phones are always pinning a tower, pinning a tower, pinning a tower, pinning a tower. Instead of pinning a tower or start jumping between towers, you just pin one tower that gets services for one satellite. That will be easier for everyone to actually have, and it will be environmentally helpful. And this is my presentation. If you have any questions, anything that, yes.
How does the cell tower and the satellite communicate with each other?
Interesting question. Between the satellite, imagine a full-size truck. That will be the bus, that will be the body of the satellite. And twice that size will be antennas, just pointing Earth, just looking at the Earth. The antennas on the ground have to know and need to know where the satellite is so they can point it. And that's what we call ephemeras. And those ephemeras, for the military, they're classified. You have to have access to those specific coordinates to point your terminal. And once that link is connected, is uplink, downlink, and the handshake between terminal and satellite. And you have to have permits for that. And that is how the satellite communications provide the services and charge you. Is they're not charging you for the internet, they're charging you for the access to the satellite. And then that's how they make money. For example, if you would be Charter Communications, which is big here in Colorado, a Charter Communication will talk to, I don't know, Elon Musk. Hey, Mr. Musk, can we use one of your satellites? And then that's how they go to the provider. Go to Charter, Elon Musk, provider. And that's the kind of the link or the loop, how that's money in that services actually work by. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions?
How many satellites are there in space?
Wow, great question. Military or civilian?
All of them.
Military is classified. Military is classified. Honest to God, military is classified. But they're around orbiting geostationary, which is standing there facing always Earth. There's hundreds of satellites just stationary, fixed there. One of the biggest company that actually have the most satellite orbiting Earth is Viasat. I actually had the opportunity to go to California and work with them, Viasat, and it was amazing. Actually, surprisingly, Viasat started providing internet services and communication services to airplanes. In the fuselage of the airplane on the top, they have this weird antenna mounted that keeps contacting that satellite. And whenever they're flying, you can actually get into your phone once you pay, of course.
You gotta pay, yeah.
Once you pay, of course. But that's how you make a phone call. That's how you watch your movie. That's how you get internet inside a plane.
Yeah.
And that's planes, boats, everything. And that's how this works. Any other questions?
So that's why I can never get my Wi-Fi to connect in a plane. I don't pay.
Yeah, it's very
Gotta
expensive.
pay to play.
You gotta pay to play. And for example, in your case, your cabin is satellite too as well. And you can tell in a very cloudy day it's spotty. However, when it's not spotty, you're gonna have a good signal. Any other questions? Awesome, thank you very much.
Very good.
Satellites, the way to communicate. Thank you
I
everyone.
didn't know any
I
of
heard they were
that,
gonna
so.